Is the Baker's Pride 2-door, 4-deck countertop pizza oven the right fit for your kitchen, or should you keep scrolling and look for something simpler? Who will actually get the most out of 4 stacked ovens? And who would be better off skipping this one altogether? And, most importantly, does the price make sense for an everyday home cook who just wants a decent slice now and then? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first started digging into countertop pizza ovens, the biggest hesitation I kept hearing was about size versus usefulness. People love the idea of a brickland hearth, but they're also worried that a multi-deck unit will dominate the counter, be a nightmare to heat up, or end up as a decorative piece you never actually use. The risk of buying the wrong thing isn't just about price. It's about committing counter space to a piece of equipment that might sit idle because you're not sure how to make it work in real life. That's the exact scenario I tried to avoid while researching this Baker's Pride model. Let's start with the basics of the category. Countertop pizza ovens sit between a simple toaster oven and a full-size brick oven. They promise restaurant-level heat in a compact footprint, and many of them use a stone or brick interior to mimic the way a wood-fired oven distributes heat. The Baker's Pride unit takes that a step further by stacking 4 1.75-inch decks under a brickland ceiling, essentially giving you 4 cooking surfaces in the space of a single oven. The stainless steel exterior looks sleek and is easy to wipe down, while the brick ceiling is intended to retain heat and create that classic oven spring you get from a real brick oven. Who should seriously consider this? First, the pizza enthusiast who regularly makes multiple pies in one sitting. Imagine a Friday night family gathering where you're feeding 5 hungry teenagers, each with a different topping combo. With this oven, you can pop a 10-inch margarita on the bottom deck, a 12-inch pepperoni on the second, a thin-crust veggie on the third, and even a larger 20-inch deep dish on the top. Because the decks are stacked, the heat radiates from the brick ceiling down through each level, so you're not fighting for space or waiting for the oven to cool down between batches. That throughput is a real advantage if you host pizza parties, run a small side hustle, or just love experimenting with dough recipes that require different bake times. Second, the home chef who values the flavor profile that a brickland hearth can impart. The brick acts like a thermal mass, smoothing out temperature spikes and creating a more even bake. In practice, that means fewer burnt edges and a nicely puffed crust, especially when you're pushing the oven to its upper temperature range for thin, Neapolitan-style pies. If you've ever struggled to get that leopard spot char in a regular countertop oven, this design gives you a better chance without having to fire up a full-size wood oven in the backyard. Who should walk away? If you're the once-a-month pizza type, the 4-deck setup is probably overkill. The oven can hold up to 16 10-inch pizzas at once, but you'll rarely need that capacity unless you're feeding a crowd. The unit is also on the heavier side. The brick ceiling and stainless housing add a solid weight that makes moving it a chore. If your kitchen counter is already crowded with a coffee maker, blender, and a stand mix, finding room for a 4-deck tower can be a challenge. In those cases, a single-deck countertop oven or even a high-heat countertop pizza stone paired with a conventional oven might give you the occasional pizza night without the permanent footprint. Now let's talk practical strengths that matter after the box is opened. The first thing you notice is how the decks slide in and out. The design uses a simple latch mechanism that lets you access each level without having to dismantle the whole thing. That's a real time saver when you're pulling out a pizza that's finished while the lower deck is still cooking. The temperature range is broad enough to cover everything from a quick 450F bake for a thin crust to a slower 350F cook for a thicker pan style.